September 25, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on the 2002 chart using NinjaTrader 8. Here's what the chart looked like today. I think it was a sell-off, kind of a small bounce, rally, sideways consolidation, two legs down, another bounce. You could argue kind of pretty much just sideways with a bearish bias, then a push down, another bounce up, looks like another break and another leg, and sideways. So it almost looks like a person shrugging. Like if their head was right here, this is their shoulders and this is the arm. So not quite a head and shoulders, but it just looks like, someone shrugging their shoulders. The only economic data that came out today was around 5:30, which was Pacific Standard, which are the final GDP numbers, which was right about here. This big drop you can see from here from the timestamp, and the unemployment claims. Other than that, there was no real other news that came out. Despite these nice, really great, smooth moves down, we've seen this in the last couple of days, I think. Not yesterday, but just recently. It looked like there was no real setups that I thought. There were some setups that I marked, but I don't know that necessarily there were that many setups today. And unfortunately, I had to step away from around 10 o'clock Pacific Standard, which is right here. And I didn't get back to my desk to about after I saw this big rally, so close to about 11:30 Pacific Standard. So it kind of ate up a chunk of day. I mean, better than taking away this big chunk earlier. Actually, I actually did have to step away from my desk right around 8 to about 9. So there weren't really that many things happening at that time either, or these things that I identified. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the charts right now. The free market, it was just one leg down, two legs up, two small legs, push, break, another push. It looked like it was moving down this yellow down channel. Then finally there was a break, tested the low, and then it kept going. So then I drew this transparent red one. It looked like I had one touch, almost two touch, but a second touch here definitely, and then kind of like two touches down here. I didn't really trust this channel all that much, but it looked like it was bigger than this yellow one. But I couldn't really do much with it. There wasn't any, in my opinion, safe trades, because you could say there's a new high here. Technically, you have a first entry long, pullback. You have a second entry long here, but it continues downwards. You could think of it as visual first entry long, pullback, second entry long, but this isn't a very good signal bar to go long. And the best you can hope for is a higher low, but then keep in mind what just happened directly to the left. It's been a big sell-off, so I'm not even thinking of going long at this point. It pushes up. Unfortunately, there was no setup here. Continues down. I'm only looking at going short at this point. But you have a first entry. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but nothing going on there. Pushes all the way down. Kind of consolidates at this low point. Kind of pushes. You actually have a slightly, actually, I think these are double lows. So it's a first entry short, pull back, second entry short, but it's above the EMA. It's a little ambiguous what's going on. It seemed like it was moving up this orange up channel. Initially, I had this green one break, test the high, but it kept going. Then finally, there's a break on the high side. I was debating whether, so I had something tighter like this. I treated this as a break as opposed to extending it at the moment because it had one touch, two touch, three touch. Break on the top side, pushes down strongly. Break of the green down channel, kind of consolidates, kind of just moves sideways. So I'm not really sure because it looks like it tested the low, but it's not reversing. But it's also been a very bearish day directly to the left. So I'm just sitting here waiting. It creates what I think is a possible second entry, but then I consider it actually an almost trade because it creates a new localized low. First entry short, pullback, breaks above the previous candle, then pushes down and closes at the low, engulfing this one completely. Now, the reason I wasn't too sure about taking this is there isn't really that much room before you scalp out to this region of support. So it looked like there was trouble by prices to break through this. I mean, it did break through here, so that's probably where resistance would be, but it also looked like it had trouble previously. So I didn't really want to take that trade. Prices continue moving down, then it creates this new low, localized low. First entry short, gives you a second entry short here. I drew this, but I wasn't sure this is actually in play. So it's maybe a resistance, maybe not. I really don't know. Go ahead and bring it down just a tad. It looked like some kind of resistance here. That's how come I had drew it. It looked like some kind of resistance here, which gave me some reluctance taking this trade. First entry short, second entry short, a little bit far from the EMA. I'm not really sure what's going on, so I just left it alone. Plus, this signal bar wasn't the best to go short, and then you got a confirmation here looking for, at the minimum, a lower high. But you don't get that. It kind of reverses. So I drew this orange up channel. Looks like it's holding. It has a first break. Technically, it's tested the high. Comes back down. I'm looking for maybe a bounce off the EMA. The first entry short, first entry long. You finally get a second entry long here, but seeing this print makes me reluctant to try to take a long. I didn't have this green channel established yet because I was still thinking this orange one's in play, break of the high. I wasn't sure if it's going to make a second attempt or is it going to start reversing back down. Because keep in mind, what just happened was this gigantic sell-off. Is it reversing? It could be, but I wasn't 100% sure yet. Okay, let's go ahead. Yeah, there we go. Starts pushing up, bounces. It starts coming back down. At this point, I do establish this green up channel. It looks like it's good confirmation at the lows, pretty decent confirmation at the high. Looks like it's a spike of this yellow up channel and then a channel. So it's like a one channel and then more of a shallow channel. So I'm looking for a second entry long. So it's a first entry long. You technically get a second entry long here, but I wasn't prepared to take that trade yet because this is a doji bar. And not only is this a doji bar, this doji bar is inside this doji bar. Excuse me, inside this signal bar. So if it had printed and closed with a little bit of a body, I might have jumped on this trade. But this is also a relatively smaller risk. It's only 7 ticks, but my stop would have to go way down here. So left it alone, pushes up. I was thinking maybe there's going to be a higher low here. So it's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. But this higher low is coming after the fact that it already made a new high. I like my higher lows printing and setting up when I haven't already made a new high. So it has already done that, so it kind of gives it less probability. Continues moving up, bounces. So I'm actually looking for another first entry long. I'm looking for a second entry long because I'm thinking this green channel is still in play. Now it's below the EMA. I'm very cautious of taking a second entry long now. Technically, I have a second entry long here, but I wasn't prepared. When I saw this candle, I'm not thinking of taking a long just yet. Pushes up. Okay, so now it's first entry long pullback, second entry long. I'm looking for a higher low above this blue EMA line. You don't quite get it. You technically get a higher low here, but it doesn't really confirm anything. Pushes, slowly moves up, kind of moves sideways. At this point, I established this as a potential support area, and I just established this as a resistance. So I'm not firm. I'm not assured that this is the actual range that we're trading in. It looks like it was one leg up pullback, maybe a potential second leg up. It never quite makes it. It's since been deleted, but I had this. It kind of exceeded it, but I was expecting a touch to the highs and then push back down. Then again, this might not even be a valid range because the top of the range could actually be slightly lower. Pushes down. It almost makes it to the high side. Pushes, now it finally touches the high. But this is kind of congested because if you look at the time, not the timestamp, but the print, it's 66.64. And this is roughly about 66.71 and change. So the candles are moving pretty much in a huge range. And I'm looking for a better setup at the lows, take a long, or a good setup at the highs to take a short. And this is just kind of floating in what I established previously as potential range. Flushes down. It creates this triple test. Now, this triple test I actually thought is a possible trade, just even though it's a triple test. EMA is clearly moving sideways. It's confirmed the high side 3 times. The low side's pretty confirmed too, because it looks like we're in a range clearly. It is slowly moved up, touched, and it looks like it's coming back down. It looks like kind of a hidden second entry short. It's like a first entry short pullback, potential second entry short. I like that this signal bar moved a tick above this guy and closed low. On a shortened trend channel, this orange up channel has broken and tested the high. So there is, I think, a possible trade here, a hidden second entry short and a possible triple test, good decent signal bar. It's a 8-tick risk or 8-tick signal bar, so kind of within the rules. So if I did enter, I would have gotten here, and likely one of these candles would have gotten me the profit target because I would only going for 1 point. Price is down, has a failed breakout here. I'm curious to know if it's going to move back into this blue range. Break of the pink down channel, tested low. I'm watching to see if it's going to reverse. Now it looks like it's pushing back up. I'm curious to see if this EMA is going to hold. It's actually at this time, because I remember these two big green candles that I left and then stepped away from my desk and didn't come back until about 9. So this preceding review is kind of more after the fact, at least this section. Pushes up. This orange, it looks like it's moving up this orange up channel. Break, test the high of the orange up channel. Creates a lower high, which I think is an almost trade because technically you have a new low. First entry short, pull back. Second entry short, pull back, and then now it's creating a lower high. The lower high, the problem with I think this setup would be it's a decent signal bar, but it's above the EMA. But the EMA right now is a little ambiguous. We can't really trust it because if you look previously, it was just kind of floating sideways with prices moving both above and below. So I would consider this an almost trade. Pushes down, moves down on this red down channel. Break. I'm thinking this might be a test because it looked like it was 2 big legs, 1 leg down, pull back, second leg. Not really a measured move, but clearly 2 legs. So I don't really know if it would come back down to test this because it's starting to reverse. Pushes down, creates this what I considered a higher low because this is a localized high. First entry long, pullback. Second entry long, pullback, higher low. But unfortunately, the higher low kind of closes below the EMA, which, as I said, may or may not be in play. But if any extra key entry points you can throw onto your argument to take a trade, the better. Pushes up. Looks like it's moving up this green up channel. Hits pretty nicely. Break of the green up channel. I'm expecting a test the high. There was an early break here. When I was looking at this, I tried to see if there was a channel that fit to try to include this, but leaving it as an early break seemed reasonable because it looked like it confirmed here, early break, and it kind of confirms here later. So it might have just been this strange early break. Didn't really affect this green up channel. And if I kept it really tight, then it'd still be kind of a break of green up channel and then test the high, and then it would have kept going. So then I would have ended up drawing something like this, broke and kept going. So I would have just kind of kept the break as kind of a side short-term issue. So it starts moving sideways. First entry long, pull back. Second entry long, but it's a bad signal bar. Punches down, moves down what I thought was this red down channel. New low, first entry short, pull back. It already makes a new low, so there's not really a second entry short here. So came back, new high, first entry long, pull back. Technically a visual second entry long. And then I came back to my desk right about here. But there was no real trade here. I thought there was a new low, first entry short pullback, kind of a hidden second entry short, but it looked like it was hitting this potential support area. I had this gray channel drawn a little tighter initially. And it has a breakout here. I'm thinking it's a failed breakout. Looks like a first entry long, second entry long, but also looks like a visual first entry long. But it doesn't even look like a very clean visual first entry long because it's hard to argue that it's all part of one leg. This consolidation area pushes up. I'm liking this resistance as a potential channel, but I wasn't sure where the low was because this looks like a really big break and a dwell for quite a while outside. So it looked like it might be something like this with the midline acting as some kind of bounce point. It was a visual, not visual, first entry short. Technically, have a second entry short. It's a bad signal bar though. New high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. Then it creates this potential failed second entry long. This potential uh, failure of the second entry long, it's a break of this orange up channel. It's already tested the high. So it looks like it broke early, tested the high, made a second attempt here. Now it's coming back down. I'm thinking if this channel's in play, if it wants to come back down and touch it, it may have been considered a touch right here, let's say. So it's a small little break. So it looks like it's coming back down. Say first entry long pullback, second entry long, decent signal bar, but it's a little bit. I did have this trend line coming down because it looked like it was trying to respect it, but it wasn't really part of a channel, so it's hard to really know. So I wanted a lower high confirmation because I'm not sure if it's going to push back up to test the high side. You get a lower high here, but it's a green signal bar, so I had to leave it alone. Pushes down, hits here, acts as a decent support, so I'm actually liking this gray down channel right now, although it's shallow. Pushes, comes back down here. Right around here, I had to step away from my desk for about an hour. It was a first entry short, second entry short. Break of this orange up channel has tested the high. EMA may or may not be coming back into play. I wasn't sure. I would think it might be coming back to test the high side. Pushes, it looks like it's a little bit of a consolidation here, just sideways. New high, it's a first entry long pullback. Second entry long. Looks like it has, well, it hasn't technically failed yet, but it's on its way to failing. It's a really strong push down. Break of the orange up channel has made 2 attempts to test the high, similar to this one, because it looks a little cleaner on this one. It's a break, test the high, second attempt, push down. There's also visual first entry long, pullback, second entry long. I like that it engulfed this guy pretty much completely, whereas this one was a little bit lacking. So this one, I needed a lower high confirmation to trust the failure. This one already looks like it's pretty much failed, and you do have enough room for a quick 1-point scalp. So I thought there was a possible trade here, which is down and out. Looks like it's moving down this red down channel, break, tested low. It's just a little jarbled here. It reverses. There's a new low, first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short. You don't know that till you get to here. It's confirmed, but you don't know that in real time. Plus, this isn't the best signal bar. It creates this lower high and what I call the visual second entry short. Because if you group this as a localized low, then it looks like a first entry short pullback, which is up, comes back down, second entry short visual. Also, it could be a lower high. So if you counted this as a first entry short, second entry short above the EMA though, this could be a lower high, but it makes a double top and it flushes down. So I called it an almost trade just because I would think prices might be looking to maybe move back into this. Although this could be acting as a resistance now, so I wasn't really sure what I was looking. I was looking for a more definitive lower high. In other words, another lower high here. You do technically have that lower high here, but it's a green bar, just doesn't quite fit right. Pushes down. So I wasn't at my desk, so I'm going to kind of show you right about here. I get back to my desk. And I'm going to talk about this. I had the hardest time. So I already know what happened. I saw what was happening. So I tried to see if I could have drawn a channel. And I'm not really sure how I would have drawn this in real time. If I would have drawn something like this, it doesn't quite fit right. It does confirm on the high side pretty good, 4 touches, but doesn't really confirm on the low side until you get to all the way down here. But in this case, I think this would have been viable because you're looking to go short. And so what really matters in this channel, this transparent one, would be the resistance side. You don't really quite care if there's a support side unless you're already in a trade and you're concerned about a potential bounce. or you saw a setup, like a setup down here, and you're concerned about a potential bounce before it reverses. So in this case, this trend line going down is actually pretty decent. It'd be great to use as a key entry point, but not because it's in a channel, but because this resistance has been confirmed several times. So unfortunately, I didn't see any setups. And if I was watching this in real time, I don't think I would have taken any setups because technically it's a double bottom. Then it flushes down, it moves down what I think might have been this red down channel, but there's no setups here. Bottoms out, creates a first entry short, pullback. Technically, you have a second entry short here. But I was also thinking, do you have a new high, first entry long? But the first entry long is pretty strong. It pushes down and pushes back up with a decent signal bar. Just something I noticed, but it's hard to say there's any kind of setup because I am seeing this after the fact. So this is actually nothing I could have seen. Nothing I don't think it's fair to say I saw something here if I was watching it in real time. But I saw it after the fact, and I was thinking, was there something here? But it's hard to really see kind of any kind of setup right here. Prices push up on this green up channel. So right about here, I'm more focused than watching the charts again. You have a new high, first entry long, pullback. Nope, there's no pullback. Pushes up on this green up channel. Broke, test the high. Bounces off of here. Unfortunately, there was no setup here. Creates a second entry long, but is an almost trade, and this is more marked after the fact because there's a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. The only reason I have it marked is because watching this candle print in real time, I was watching carefully to see if it would break below the EMA and break below this yellow up channel support. And finally, when it closed, I was wondering if it would be a second entry long, and it does confirm to be second entry long, but in real time, there's no way for me to trust it, especially after the candle closed. The prices move up. It looks like it's obeying and respecting this yellow up channel now. Moves down this red down channel. It creates what I think is a actual possible second entry long trade. It's a break of this red down channel, but it broke early. So it already broke. I wasn't sure it was going to come back and test the low. EMA is starting to act as support. And this yellow up channel fits pretty well. So it's a break. It could be one attempt up. It could be a second attempt up into this, because I'm not so sure that it's going to come back down and test the low of this guy, this correction. Pushes up and through. And it hits the sideways consolidation. Yeah, it's pretty noisy. There's a fail breakout here, but I really couldn't link it with any kind of setup or trade. Pushes down. I drew this red down channel. Well, not really a down channel. I drew this red. I'm going to kind of put it here for now. So all this is a potential resistance. Wasn't ready to call it a channel just yet. You do have a new low here. First entry short, pullback, second entry short. I thought this was a possible trade too. It is later in the day, and it was two legs up, not necessarily off of support, but it was two legs up on something that looks like it's turning bearish. But since due to the time of day and I wasn't fully focused, I was kind of away from my desk a couple of times. I wasn't really looking to try to make something happen within the last 30 minutes. But if this setup showed up during, I think, regular trading hours or earlier, then it might have been a trade I think I might have tried to take. There is enough room for a quick 1 point scalp. It is getting close though. Then prices push down, hits this. There might have been a triple test here, but again, it's too late in the day. I kind of dragged this down to here at this point, but I didn't color it in. Bounces, and it starts pushing out of this potential resistance. And then it kind of moves into the close. So my thoughts are a little bit jarbled. So I feel like this walkthrough, this partial walkthrough, partial live attempt to try to take any trades is a little not the cleanest today, just because I don't think it was distracting and just coming off of just some tougher trading for me. Looking at this chart in hindsight, when I look back at it, I was like, oh, well, maybe there was some trades here or trades here. But when I zoom into it and I'm looking at it closely, I'm not so sure well, I don't think I'm at the experience level or the knowledge level to see these better. So unfortunately, the setups for me have to be a little more obvious, probably a little bit more in presented cleanly, then I probably would have been more confident marking setups and taking trades. But as I said, it was a little more distracting today. Hopefully tomorrow gets better. So hopefully that was helpful.